So welcome to Lesson 7, Basic Elements in the Body of Your HTML Document, Part 3. So in this lesson, I'm going to walk you through the process step by step, again, of inserting properly formatted elements into the body of an HTML document. Now, in order to complete the assessment at the end of this lesson, it's just a PDF on the companion website you can download, print, and complete. To follow along with the lesson itself, you can have this video open on one side of your monitor or in one of your monitors if you have multiple, and follow along in CodePen.io as I am doing here, or in a text editing application of your choice. I recommend Notepad++, it's very good, but the basic Notepad application that comes with Windows for free is also sufficient. Okay, so we're going to continue learning elements that are visible to site visitors. Elements that are visible to site visitors are placed between the opening and closing body tags in an HTML document. So here we have a basic image tag. An image tag does not require a closing /image tag. It is a self-closing tag. The attributes that are required in an image tag are the SRC or source attribute and the ALT or alternative text attribute. So alternative text indicates an explanation of the image in 120 characters or less. If you use more than 120 characters, including spaces, in your alternative text, the screen reader software used by individuals with visual impairments will stop reading at character 120. So it's important to keep your explanations short and to the point. Think of it being a little bit shorter than a tweet to explain it. Not having an alternative text tag or an alt tag attribute in your image tag is both an accessibility issue and it will invalidate your HTML code. Now, if your image is purely decorative in nature, meaning it's only like the border of a table or something visual to add a visual enhancement but doesn't provide any content or meaning, then what you would do is you would delete all text, alternative text, and just leave alt equals double quotes with no space in between. Now, one thing that you can do is if you have an alternative text explanation, it determines the content and meaning, explains it, of your image. If your image, for some reason, if the reference to your image is not correct, or the path is incorrect, or someone has images turned off, they will still see your alternative text displayed on the page, and there will be meaning for that portion of the HTML. So it's important to remember that. Now, for the purposes of this particular demonstration, I'm just referencing the name of a graphics file that doesn't actually exist, so we see a broken graphic image here. I'm going to go ahead and insert a URL that I had saved to a photograph of a mountain. Now, I had found that on unsplash.com, which is a free photographic site that you can go to if you want nice images for your website. I just changed a couple of the parameters in order to make it fit in this display. So here we have image of a mountain. Now, when I have a valid image reference in my source attribute, notice the alternative text is not displayed visually. That's because it's an alternative to the image, hence the attribute name alt. So the next thing I want to look at is the video tag. So for example, I created a short example video that's about a minute long, about 55 seconds. And in the video, it basically goes through and explains some images seen on NASA's Image of the Day webpage. So I've got the video source referenced here. Now, video tags have a few attributes that I need to point out. So the video tag does require a closing video tag. You need to specify the width and height of the video in HTML. And you need to add this additional indicator, which does not have a value. It's just by itself, the word controls. So when I have the word controls, what that does for me is it provides play, timeline, volume, full screen, and download options for the video. And that's just native to the browser for an MP4 file, which is what this is. The next portion of the video tag is actually contained within the video tag itself, is the source tag. Source tag is its own tag. It is a self-closing tag that does not require a closing / source portion. In the source tag you have an SRC. It seems redundant, but in the source tag you have an SRC attribute. So the source tag within video references a source that references a video location. Then you want, in the source tag, you want to indicate the type of video. And there are 3 options. There's video /MP4, which is the most used, video /WebM, which is another web video format, and video /OGG, which is OGG Vorbis. So depending on the type of video you have created, .mp4, .webm, or .ogg, you would indicate the appropriate video type here. For MP4, it's video /MP4. After the close of the source tag, which is self-closing with just a greater than bracket, put some text that indicates whether or not the person's browser supports the video tag. As our browser does support the video tag, we see the video here. If we did not have a browser that supports the video tag, we would see this text displayed, indicating that our browser doesn't support the video tag. You could put additional explanatory information there to let the user know that they should go download a modern browser, either Chrome, Firefox, Opera, something of that nature. So I'm going to show you an example of also captions. Now, captions for video are very important because captions make the video accessible. So to add these to your HTML video tag, you would use the track tag. You would then use the indicator default without a value, and then the attribute source, and point to the path of your video virtual text tracked file. Now in this particular case, I'm referencing VTT because it's a newer format that works well and natively in browsers that support HTML video. So I'll give you an example of what that looks like. So here we have the page that's not a video that's without captions and not accessible. So if I hit play on this video page, so if you start with the first image, this is the city of Naples, Italy at night. So you'll notice there are no captions here on this video as it plays. Now when you take your caption file and include a reference to a VTT version of it, then it will display with captions. Here we have NASA's image of the day webpage. So if you start with and in addition, you'll see the CC icon that will appear on your control bar automatically by nature of the fact that you haven't included a captions track file. So in this case, I recorded the screen using Camtasia. So I'll take you to Camtasia real quick. I recorded the screen using Camtasia. I went through and took the time to actually type in the captions for the video. Once I was done with that, I actually used this export captions option, and I exported an SRT file. Okay. Once I exported the SRT file, I went to webvtt.org. I copied my SRT file into this box and clicked convert. Once I did that, the box below appeared where I could select all of the content of that portion, copy it out, I went into Notepad, pasted it all into a file, and then saved it as a VTT file. Once I had it saved, I used my file transfer program to transfer the file to my web server and reference it in my code, which gives me the ability to reference it here. Once you do that, your video will have synchronized captions based upon the captions that you created, in this case in Camtasia, or in your video editing program. I recommend Camtasia Studio. It's a very good program. You get discounts for educational purposes, which are very nice, and it works for a host of various different options. Now the nice thing about Virtual Text Track Code, VTT, is that it works natively in all devices. It works in mobile devices and all modern web browsers. Now you don't need to create a video or a caption track for this lesson. The purpose of this portion of the lesson was really to introduce you to the video tag, to explain how to use it properly in a very basic way, and include captions for accessibility purposes so that your video will be accessible to people with hearing impairments, or even for people who are working in an environment where they can't play the audio. Because keep in mind, accessibility is context-based and less about the individual. If a person is in an environment where they need quiet and they can't interrupt others, but they still want to be able to watch this video and understand what's going on, captions are helpful to that person even if they have perfect hearing. So accessibility is more than just about helping people with what's called a disabling condition. It is also something to help people in the context in which they need that assistance.